What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be playing a deck that is an absolute Swayze specialty here on the channel. We of course are talking about a Reanimator deck, and I did want to play a card that is going to be circling out of rotation here pretty soon, so I wanted to give it one last go. And we're of course talking about Esika's Chariot. Now we all know what Esika's Chariot does. It makes copies of tokens. Pretty powerful effect, and today's deck is filled with tokens that we can copy that are a lot of fun. We got things like Jace Mirror Mage, which is a planeswalker that we can kick to make a token of itself and then copy those tokens. We've also got things we can reanimate with, things like Tamiyo and the Dollhouse of Horrors, which is going to bring back creatures as tokens of themselves that we can then copy with the Esika's Chariot. We've got powerful creatures we can reanimate. Of course, we got the usual suspects. We got the Titan of Industry. We got the Dusk Manglers. But we also have a card I've never played yet, which is kind of surprising because it turned out to be very powerful. The All-Seeing Arbiter. This card is very wordy, so I'm going to try to summarize it quickly for you. But basically, it's going to make -X on one of our opponent's creatures on the other side of the field for every time we discard a card, and that X is going to be valued by however many mana values we have in our graveyard, which we have a very nice curve. So there's sometimes we're going to be able to do -X on our opponent's attacking creatures, which is great. But what's even better is we can trigger this multiple times a turn because we're going to be able to reanimate it with Dollhouse of Horrors, which gives it haste, so it enters the battlefield and it attacks, triggering its effect twice. And it also allows us to draw cards and discard cards to the graveyard. I hope that makes sense. This card, again, very wordy, but very powerful, and I'm surprised I have not tried it yet. It works perfectly in today's deck, so it's a great fit. But as always, there will be a full deck breakdown at the end of today's video, so stick around for that. And if you guys enjoy content just like this, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button as well as the subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. And yeah, guys, enjoy today's gameplay footage. We'll see you here at the end. And in the meantime, there's a link in the description below for the full deck list. Enjoy, guys. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a really fun list for you. We're going to be playing a Sultai build with Esika's Chariot. We know Esika's Chariot is going out of rotation here pretty soon, so I wanted to try to get some play with it and see if we can do some Dollhouse of Horrors nonsense with it again, as well as Tamiyo. Both cards work really well with the Esika's Chariot, and I don't think we played them enough, to be honest, so I'm looking to try to do that today. So we got blue green, and then black. Perfect. Okay, we'll keep this. We'll keep this, and we're going to be able to immediately play Tainted Indulgence, hopefully getting up to a Dollhouse of Horrors play. We've already played one game with this, and it was pretty awesome, I can't lie. What is the card called? The All-Seeing. That card is wild. I've seen it played before. I know how good it can be, but man, I really did not realize until I actually played the card myself just how amazing that card actually is. Valky comes down, doesn't get anything out of our hand. Get a little Tainted Indulgence action going here. Would be nice to try to get a old Rutstein down on 3 here, because it can ramp us potentially into Dollhouse of Horrors, which would be really, really nice. All right, gonna take 2. And by the way, this is Golgari so far. I would imagine obviously Jund, but Golgari so far, which means they might be playing some form of like fight rigging combo with maybe like Shakedown Heavy. We'll see. All right, they get down to Topiary Stomper, which is it's okay. It's a good card. I mean, obviously ramping is really good, and there's their red source that they needed. And we'll just play another Indulgence. I have no problems playing another Indulgence here, and then we can just go right into Binding. We'll see what target we want to take out probably this next turn, because now they've got quite a bit of mana here to play something pretty threatening. Turn 5, not ideal. No plays from our opponent here, though. Okay. Ooh, we get a Consuming Blob. That's actually really good. All right, we're going to drop a land again here. And we'll play this out for blue. Let's get the cards out of our hand that they already know about here. So we'll play this for green, and then we'll play a Binding here. The Binding will take out the Stomper, and then that way they don't get any value off of it later. Whether it be bouncing it, I don't see how that's possible, but whether that happens or they do find that 7th land drop next turn. That'll be able to attack. So let's get it out of the way now. We have a consuming blob in hand, which is really good. If they don't have a sweeper, I mean, that could be really, really solid. Shakedown heavy. That's another binding on the way for that. No problems there. Another blue source seems good, and then another binding seems also very good. We're ramping up into our bigger spells. Once these bindings hit the graveyard as well, consuming blob becomes much better. And then let's just say they do sweep up the board. Dollhouse of Horrors does a great job of getting everything back. But taking out the shakedown heavy here, I think, is pretty important. Again, if they play out, like, let's say a fight rigging next turn, it's going to be able to activate that right away. So let's get that out of the way. I may regret not saving these bindings for a Tybalt if it comes down, but we have to deal with what we got early on here. The Dusk Mangler is pretty sweet, but if you play it out, you're going to have to discard a card or pay 4 life. But man, it does so many things when it hits the field. We might be able to get him to discard something pretty important too. All right. They're holding priority over something here. I don't know what it might be, but I don't know if Valky actually does allow that priority hold to happen or not, with nothing to do. I do think it's a safe play here for the consuming blob, and then we just kind of pass the turn here. Maybe Dusk Mangler next turn. We'll see. Dollhouse of Horrors not necessary just yet. There's nothing in the yard to bring back, so just kind of being patient here and waiting for the opponent maybe to answer our plays. There's nothing they can counter. There's no blue mana in their deck, so something, again, holding priority here. Just don't know what it is. Could be removal. Could be removal. We might be seeing the consuming blob go here, but let's pass the turn and say go. See what they want to do. All right, we got 2 of them. Let's go. That's all I needed to see. So now they're going to need a sweeper. Otherwise, we're going to get well ahead of them here. Even though they have the chariot, we're still going to get way ahead of them. These consuming blobs, they naturally are going to replicate themselves, even without me having to do much of anything. So I'll take it all day. I like drawing a second Mangler here too, because we can play out the first one, discarding the other one and getting the other one back with the Dollhouse of Horrors. That's pretty solid. An opponent having to, you know, sacrifice a creature and discard a card feels pretty awesome too. And it's also going to get the consuming blob even higher, because another Dusk Mangler in the graveyard means more types of cards in the graveyard. So we're going to discard a card. I still just want to know what that hold is. Obviously now they have the Asika's Chariot, so that's holding priority, but I want to know what that previous hold was all about. I don't know. All right, to discard a land. And I could blow up their Asika's Chariot, by the way, with the Boseiju. We're going to see what they do, though, if they're going to crew it or not next turn. If they do end up crewing it, it makes sense, because they could take out the Mangler with it. So we might Boseiju then, but we'll see. Okay, they can't even crew it now. They're down to 1 card in hand, but I mean, if it's a Tybalt, that's just one heck of a card. So we'll see. There's no snowman in their deck, so we know Blood on the Snow's not coming down. Meat Hook Massacre is definitely a potential. 4 or 5, potentially Meat Hook for 6, Meat Hook for 5. Yep, that'll do it. That will do it. But you know what? We have a really great answer here with the Dollhouse of Horrors. It honestly doesn't get any better than that as far as answers go, because we can just basically get all these things right back. So I'm going to go with the consuming blob first, though. They are going to gain a lot of life here, but no damage being dealt to me is what I really care about here. Another blob, that seems cool. All right, we just get a measly little 1/1 slime, but it does spit out 4 5s all day long, so the value's still there. Consuming blob plus Dollhouse of Horrors is such a good combo. Like, honestly, like, it's so hard to beat. Now, if they want a minus here on the Dollhouse, that's a good play, but they do lose their Tybalt, and but I guess they do get to use my Dollhouse against me, don't they? Which is kind of bonkers. Okay, that seems like a big mistake. Probably the biggest mistake I think they've ever made in their lives. I just don't think they know that the consuming blob is going to get bigger here with that. And with that, they they're kind of screwed. If they would have exiled the Dollhouse of Horrors, I would have honestly understood where they were coming from. Obviously, losing the Tibalt wouldn't be good, but they'd had the Dollhouse to kind of rejuice their board up. So kind of weird that they made that play, but they get absolutely lucky out of their minds by drawing into a second one here. Again, another mistake. I think you got to shut down my Dollhouse if you're going to have a chance here, but they don't seem to care. So another Dusk Mangler maybe, and then we attack again. They can't discard a card. There's nothing in their hand, but they do eat damage there. And 3, 6. Oh, I guess taking out that Dusk Mangler actually made my creatures a little weaker. All right, and then a Battle Mammoth is the last card in hand here, so we're gonna get another 3/4. We should be wide enough even without casting this to get around it and win the game. So no need to rush this here. Just gonna keep the Consuming Blob in hand here, and they get lucky again. Their top decks have been phenomenal. Tibalt into now Storm the Festival. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. They can't play out Battle Mammoth. Yeah, that's gonna be game here. That is going to be game. Oh, what a way to end it. What a way to just put the nail in the coffin here, huh? GG's, my friend. What a good way to start off the game here. We didn't even get any of our Planeswalkers that game, but that's totally fine. We had a very, very smooth victory here. Even though the opponent, you know, came in with 2 Tibalts, I will say this. They, in my opinion, misplayed those Tibalts pretty hard, but as far as what they decided to get rid of. So I'll take it though. GG. Man, I really do feel like Reanimator is like my home. Like this is definitely my kind of deck. Like this was built for me, you know? Feels good. Feels good. Okay. Well, normally this wouldn't be so great, but because we have the old Rutstein, it could probably find us blue as far as treasures go. So we'll keep it. I would rather obviously have one of these be a blue source and then we'd have a perfect hand, but beggars can't be choosers. So we'll keep what we got. And it's the Disciple. Okay. There's a blue source. I dig it. And then a Seeker's Chariot's pretty cool. Ooh, okay, okay. Now they know we're a Reanimator deck. They just seen me throw away a creature, and they just seen a Titan hit the field, and we've got old Rutstein. It's a pretty dead giveaway that we're trying to reanimate. Another blob. I don't imagine there's anything I should be worried about here with 2 mana being open, but it is Orzhov. You never know. Deadly Dispute? Wow, okay. I don't really know what they're up to then. Esper with Deadly Dispute in hand, huh? Not exactly what I expected to see there. I will anticipate that we are probably going to get hit with a sweeper of some kind. But we do have a backup Rutstein, and we can Tainted Indulgence as of right now, which hopefully should find us, you know, maybe take a Dollhouse or a Tameo at least to get the ball rolling again. They're going to reanimate themselves with some specialist action. I like that card a lot. All right, that's fine. I don't like giving up old Rutstein here, I'm going to be honest with you guys, but I don't foresee a sweeper in our future just because they did just play the specialist, which would be kind of strange for them to then sweep the board the following turn. I don't know. They could though. Wow. That's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Ooh, and a Dollhouse goes to the yard. You hate to see it. Man, I don't know if I want to discard that. Oh, this is tough. But I feel like it's necessary. All right, we'll play out the Seiju here. And attack in with the cats. I don't know. Tricky turn, man. A very tricky turn this one turned out to be, huh? They don't want to block with their specialist, I would imagine, so they're going to eat this damage, which brings them down to 15. And next turn we do have the Tameo. We don't have to pay, wait, 1 2 3 4 5 2 3 4 5. We don't have to pay life for it, so we can bring it in with a starting loyalty of 5, which means we can get back a Jace, which would help a lot. And then do we want the Jace though, or do we want to do a Seeker's Chariot first? I honestly don't know. If I get the Jace, I'd want to be able to make copies of it, you know. But actually, the copy wouldn't work because it would actually be the legendary version of it. So that's interesting. That's also interesting. All right. Sorry, just thinking out loud here. We're in a bit of a bind here, just not having cards in hand, which is a bit of a bummer. All right, they're just gonna bounce the portable hole till they eat up all my tokens. Interesting choice. All right, let's go Tainted Indulgence, draw a few cards here, see what we hit. Binding is awesome. Okay, that's fine. That's what I want. Screw the Tameo play this turn. Binding all day. All right, and then we get in with the cat again. Let's just keep the pressure on. I mean, they're at 15 right now. That's, you know, we're keeping the pressure up. And as long as we bind and maybe bring this binding back to kill a teleportation circle again, it could be coming out again. Obviously, they could have a backup. That's clearly their game plan, though. Teleportation circle. So if we can stop that from, you know, happening a bunch, we'll be good to go. I would like to just draw into another Seeker's Chariot. I think that would make my life a lot easier, honestly. Are they gonna meat hook for 2? Probably. It's not the end of the world, though. It's fine. They do kill their disciple, and that leaves them with 2 cards in hand. I like my odds here. What if we get the Jace back, man? What if we end up actually going with the Jace play here? I don't know. I just think there's better things. That's pretty sweet, I can't lie. I can't lie, that is pretty good. What do we need mostly? Blue, yeah. All right, Tameo, come on in. Let's have some fun here. Let's have some fun. I could just go for a dollhouse. That actually could be pretty interesting. Just go straight dollhouse here. Yeah, I think that's the move here, so I can keep reanimating everything over and over again. It's actually the move, I think. All right, cool. Dollhouse of Horrors. And Titan. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Let's go with the old Rutstein. Let's reset first. Let's reset because the Titan will be pretty exposed here. So let's just go with the old Rutstein play for now. Let's see if they have any more answers that they maybe want to play out before we decide on the Titan just yet. We should be good now, though. I mean, I've definitely assembled a good board state now. We've got the most important thing on the field, which is the Dollhouse of Horrors. And we dropped the all-seeing Arbiter, and they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Okay, War Chief isn't bad. It's a card that can allow us to draw some stuff here. Go with the blob first. Go with the blob first, and then Arbiter seems fun. All right, both of these can get in pretty freely here. And then if they want to block with the Warden, they're going to lose a shield counter. So that'd be cool if they did, but they don't. Meat Hook Massacre deals me 1, no big deal. Yeah, I'm going to save my treasures. No need to cast out the War Chief. Let's go ahead and get the 5-6. Not bad. Not bad. They're pretty confused, I think, on where that 5-6 just came from, which is why they're highlighting it. So I'm feeling pretty good right about now. I mean, the Arbiter is just going to keep shutting down any sort of offense that they may have here. Every time it attacks, it's just going to get more and more wild. They get a memory, reduced to memory, which, what do they target? They target the Arbiter. For smart play. Smart play. I don't know if that was the right play, though. I would have done the Dollhouse. I just don't think people understand how important the Dollhouse is to our engine. But I I mean, I'll take it. A Jace again. I love this. Good top deck right there. I'll take the Indulgence all day. Oh, let's go. That's so clutch. Now we can start making copies of all this nonsense. It's just a matter of time now. 3, 4, 5, 6. We can then okay, see, again, they don't understand how this card works. They're taking out the 5/6, but they're not taking out where the source is causing the 5/6s. You know what I'm saying? People just don't know what to do with this deck, and that's the beauty of it, you know? That's the beauty of it. All right, let's get another one. And we can't kick this, so let's just hold on to it. All right. No attacks. No attacks. All right. Consuming Blob goes off. We get 2 5/6s. Now, next turn, I can get back the Titan. And the Titan can blow up, you know, one of these portable holes or something. I don't know. Or I could just give it a shield counter and it can combat the Warden. They scoop it up. They see the writing on the wall. They see that this board is going to get uglier and uglier as the turns pass. We have a Seeker's Chariot, which was also going to be able to make copies. By the way, we wouldn't even make copies of the 5/6. We'd be making copies of the Consuming Blob, making even more 5/6s every turn. And then to follow that turn, I mean, we can kick this to create a 4/4 body, drawing a card. Solid game, man. Solid game. Easy dubs. Let's go. Man, we are confusing the opponents right now. They are not sure how to play around these cards. And I love that though, man. That's one of the very rare bonuses to being able to play a different deck every day and trying to be creative and trying to be different, is that you may not be playing meta decks or, you know, grinding out the ladder really fast, but the decks you are playing, they throw people for a loop. That's for sure. All right, you get the element of surprise, you know? Element of surprise. I have Tainted Indulgence, and so as long as that goes off without a hitch, we've got a pretty good hand here. But there's, I was gonna say there's a duress, and I lose this game. Because if that was a duress and they got my Indulgence, I wouldn't have been able to find a land. I could guarantee that. Been there before, man. Tough. All right, we know what's going to happen here. They attack and we Indulgence. They Deadly Dispute on my turn. All right, let's try to replicate exactly what we did last game, except maybe we can get down like a Jace this game. That'd be pretty fun. A Jace would be super fun if I can get it in. All right, old Rutstein, get on in there. Should be seeing the Deadly Dispute come down about now that they know they can't get an attack through. And we do have to worry about blood on the snow this game for sure. Oh wow. Okay, they fear the old Rutstein, huh? Fair enough. Fair enough. The good news is our deck is pretty resilient against sweepers, just because we can you know, if we do get a Tameo down or a Dollhouse of Horrors, we can keep on replicating things and go from there. Another Infernal Grasp. I mean, they are eating damage to get rid of these things, which is interesting. We'll pass the turn here. Tameo can bring one of those back. I mean, might not be a bad idea. The Necromancer. What exactly does Necromancer do again? It says if a non-token creature opponent will control will die, exile that card, ice counter on instead. You may cast those spells from exile. Okay, so we have to actually kill that pretty quick here because I don't want them being able to use my cards against me. So I think Binding will be the next play. Hopefully we find a land though. Just get a land, get the Binding down. I want to make sure all my land drops continuously keep coming here. Okay, no land, but I do get a Consuming Blob, which is a 4/5, which is interesting, but I can't afford to play that out to have it get removed because then they get to use that against me. So bind that away all day. We've got a really good hand here. I mean, we got plenty of threats to continuously throw out of the opponent here. That's going to be an issue. That is going to be a big issue here. What do they exile? Oh, that's a big issue because that's also going to make the blob a lot smaller here. But I do have double blocks if I can get one blob in or if I can get in the Seeker's Chariot in. Tameo, that's going to make this into a 3/4. Yikes. Shoot. Well played, well played. I like Jace. I like me a Jace. go Seeker's Chariot here. I'm going to try to save that treasure until the last minute here if possible. And happily we'll make a block here against that hive if they want to try that nonsense again. But I'm imagining that they've got some sort of removal spell here for these 2/2s. I don't know if they realize how important or how good their hive is against us just yet, but I don't want them to find out. So Meat Hook sweeps the board. Not that big of a problem, especially because we got Consuming Blob, which is a much better thing for the Chariot to hit. And now we've got things we can copy too still on the field here. Blood tokens, treasure tokens. So it's worth getting the Consuming Blob in. And then we can copy Jace's the following turn, which would be pretty wild if we can get that to go. Okay, that's annoying. I could do a pretty interesting play here with Tamiyo too to get back up binding at some point and then keep copying the binding over and over. But I do think the Consuming Blob is the move for now. We get this in and we make a copy of the treasure token. Just get that mana, baby. Get that mana. And then we'll just blood token this away. I don't think there's a play for this just this moment just yet. Okay, so we get another 4/5, which again is another token I can copy, which is great. I think they're going to start realizing how good their hive is based on this ooze. If they read the card, that is. I don't see them highlighting it. Maybe they're very familiar with it, though. I don't know. Nobody plays Consuming Blob, which is kind of crazy. It's a really good card. Really good card. And they don't like it. They say no more, which is kind of odd because they got blood on its nose and things like that. So you would think that a wide board state wouldn't be too scary for them, but they don't like it. I respect it. GG. So far, it's an absolute powerhouse, man. It's been performing well outside the range that I thought it would. And we haven't even gotten the Arbiter in too many times either. And I think that card is really going to glue this thing together in a tough spot. Like, let's say they go pretty wide on us. I think the Arbiter is going to be a really good way to answer a lot of the stuff that your opponent's trying to do. This hand is interesting. I do have the Indulgence, but I don't have a black source to cast it, or a blue. Either or. I don't think we can keep it. I don't think we can keep this either, but we have to, I think. We do have 3 lands this time as opposed to the 2 prior, but man, oh man. We're going to need to see some things here because the Seeker's Chariot can't be our first play. There we go. That's better. That is better. Would love to get a Jason to play at some point too, man. Jace can really feel up our hand here a little bit if we can get this thing to go. Another Rut Sting would be nice to kick this thing and then follow it with the Chariot. I guess land the land, and then I would like to get the Chariot in first and then Jace. Okay, so yeah. Okay, they got cards that hit our graveyard. Not fun. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go Chariot like I just said. Chariot should be pretty solid. And then we follow that, hopefully with the Jace, if we can hit a land. We only need... Okay, they don't want to see us. Okay. So strange. So strange. We were actually struggling here to hit what we needed, but the opponent didn't like what they saw for whatever reason. I was in a pretty good spot here, though, because Rutstein, I just needed it to hit a land to get a treasure, or we can get a land off the top. So we had 2 cards to potentially hit a land. Then we could kick Jace. And once we kick Jace in, a Seeker's Chariot can start copying the Jace. And from there, we should have unlimited card draw. But... again, opponent didn't want to let us to go through with that, so on to the next. All right, I mean, a win's a win. We'll take it. It always feels weird to win like that. I don't know why. Feels weird. Oh man, I'm so excited, guys. New cards coming out soon. The Planeswalkers look so fun. The new Ajani, man. The Ajani looks really cool. And then not to mention the Liliana that they're bringing back. I never had a chance to play in that time when that Liliana was a card. So I'm really stoked to try it out because it looks really, really good. They all look really good in their own way, man. Even the Red Planeswalker, I could see myself using that card and doing some weird, funky things with it, which is really what that's all I care about. Can I do some weird stuff with it? You know, how weird can I get with this card? That's all I think about. How weird can I get? This looks like a big deck. 91 cards. Yep, I was right. Holy 91 cards. All right, they need to do a better job, I think, of indicating their deck and how big it is. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe there needs to be like a little bubble right here with how many cards they have left, like right over the deck over here, because you have to just kind of like notice that it's a little bit bigger than the other decks. You know how many times I've been playing against somebody with like 150 cards and I don't realize until like halfway through the game? All right, let's do this. All right, Retstein comes in here, I think, and then they're gonna transform the Concealing Curtains. They almost always do. So absolutely transform, and then I get to draw a card for them discarding a card out of my hand, which only plays into our game plan pretty good. So I'll take it. That's what they want to do. And then we have pretty good blocks here to double block the Concealing Curtains. Okay, they don't want to do that. Interesting. Interesting. I am going to go Chariot first here. Chariot just provide... Chariot's got to get down on the field almost before anything because I need it to pass through its Summoning Sickness phase. So whatever I end up doing the next turns, I can start copying things immediately. So let's say we draw into a Tameo. We're going to want to bring Tameo down and then make a token of something from our graveyard, right? And then have a Seek's Chariot just copy it immediately. All right, they discard Valky. It's a pretty good card to discard. They definitely have another one in hand if that's the case. Which would be kind of weird to have duplicate cards in hand when you're running 90 plus cards. I mean, it's obviously it could happen. I'm just saying it's a little less likely to happen when you're running that many more cards. Do they run a 2/2? Okay, they do. I hope this doesn't bite me in the butt with some sort of removal spell. Obviously, a Meat Hook for 2 would be pretty brutal, but I hope that's not going to be the case. We'll see. Actually, they don't have double black. What am I saying? This is not a black source, so they can't even Meat Hook us anyway, so we're pretty safe out here. Not from all removals, though. Obviously, they could play some sort of creature removal here on the Chariot, which would be a bit of a bummer. I think they just really wanted the treasure, though. I don't think it was meant to bait me into some sort of removal. We'll see. I don't think this is usually in frame. Sorry, something's in frame. Oh, I see. Okay. Trying to figure out what was in frame in my background there. That it's not normally there. Okay, so what do we do? I think there's no real good binding targets here. I mean, this is kind of okay. Let's attack in first and see what they want to do. Anything you want to do for that? You do. You want to make a block. Okay. Okay, and then I could blow up the Concealing Curtains, maybe to stop them from taking something we need out of hand. I don't know, man. I just don't know. I guess that's a better target if I'm being honest. Just because this can copy creatures later when it comes down, which is a bit of a nuisance. So let's just get rid of that. Let's end our turn. And if they don't kill or if they don't come after my hand here with the Concealing Curtains, I'll blood token away the old Retstein. But we are in the realm of Meat Hook Massacres now and other types of removals. They are running white. So, I mean, Doomscar is not off the table. This seems like it's going to be a 5-color deck of some sort. So, yeah, I figured as much. They're probably going to take the binding, I would imagine. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. But we do. If they take the old Retstein, that'd be lit. And that way I could draw into cards without having to actually discard. Would be pretty sweet. Yeah, I figured as much. Well, they did just find me a dollhouse. Nice. That's pretty clutch. That means Titan of Industry gets to come down here in a minute, but it's only going to be a 1/1, which takes away a lot of its gusto. But still a pretty good card, man. Tameo, I needed that. All right. Black, green, blue, green. It doesn't really matter. I think that's fine. Yeah, maybe we just bind. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe just attack in here. I didn't find a land to get. Yeah, shoot. All right, I'm gonna go bind. I may regret this heavily here, guys. I'm aware of that. I might be playing this into this, you know, revealing eye, which I could potentially be playing it in something much better next turn if they play out something more threatening. But I do think it's still worth it to get this attack to get through. We're gonna go ahead and use one of these blood tokens for sure now, though, to get one of these old Rutsteins out of my hand. More cats, more cats. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. A lot of damage, down to 13 here. And what do we hit? Another chariot. Not bad. Not bad, because if they do want to sweep the board here, I do have a backup chariot now that I can throw down, and the other chariot can go copy right away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can also play the dollhouse next turn and immediately get value, which is pretty sweet. I can take out the consuming blob. I'm glad a Rutstein's in the graveyard too now, so that way the consuming blob stays, you know, big, even if I do get the Titan out of the field, because there'll always be at least one creature on the field. And that is about as bad of a card as you can hope for when you're me. Oh man, that's a big yikes. Big yikes. We do kind of refuel the board here pretty fast, but we're out of cards in hand, so that's not good. They ate the entire graveyard away, which was the saddest part about that card. Okay, I'm glad Dollhouse wasn't down. I highly considered playing that out that last turn, so I'm glad that's not down. Goldspan's a beast of a card. Well, we might have just met our maker there with that farewell. That is if you had to say one card that shut your deck down, that would be the one. Well played. Well played, Avatar. They're highlighting old Rutstein. What's that about? Something good. That's not it, Chief. That's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. I get to draw a card. I get to create a token. I get to generate some value and damage pretty fast. And yeah, this will be good, man. This will be good. I still think this is max value as far as what I can crew up here. And then we deal 9, 10 damage, which is a lot. And then I create a 4/4 Rhino at the end step and draw a card. I gotta say, that's a pretty good move here. And then also Dollhouse can bring it back the following turn, which is great. Vanishing Verse, though. Big yikes. That's fine. A bit annoying, but it's fine. Alright, we get the 4/4 body. Tainted Indulgence. We can play that. Let's go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Good cards. Those were some good cards off the top there. We're back. We're back, baby. Just no more farewells. Okay? Yeah? Cool. We on the same page? That'd be great. Oh, man. A farewell would be so sad. But I mean, I do have a Titan in hand, so if they farewell the board, I'm in a pretty good spot still. All right. The question is to Titan or not to Titan. I think I'm not going to Titan. I think what I'm going to do here is Dollhouse into the Dusk Mangler. The Dusk Mangler is going to sacrifice their Goldspan, and they discard a card, which in this case is their last card in hand. So that feels pretty good. Kind of takes away any sort of card selection they may have. I do not like the Hall of the Storm Giants. That's at some point that's going to be a problem to get through. Dig up, search your library for a card, put it. Oh, that was a mistake on their part, because whatever card they grab now, it's gone. It's gone. I'm actually super happy they played that. They wasted treasure and mana, and now they're also probably going to grab one of their best cards possible, which is always a good thing when we're going to make them discard, you know? All right, here we go. They're not going to like me for this one, that's for sure. Good old Dusk Mangler, do your thing. card is broken. Card is so broken. Oh, we take their commie war. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. All right, so we just got to deal 1 more point of damage, and they're unfortunately stuck to their top deck here, and they can only block with the Hall of the Storm Giants, which is not enough. We can get down an old rusty, a Workshop War Chief next turn, which has trample and pumps up the Dust Mangler to 2/2. And we can play Titan of Industry. Not to mention that little factor. A 5-color deck, and they go for dig up for the Kami War. And now they're gonna go find, I would imagine, well, I was gonna say a sweeper, but I don't think there's a sweeper that can play for blue, black, and a colorless. There's nothing there. They would need double black to get a Path of the Peril or something like that off, but yeah, they're toast. They are toast unless they can gain life. Maybe they can gain life. That's a possibility. A life gain mechanic. I don't know. It ain't looking good for them though. Oh man. Even with it getting hit with Farewell, the worst possible card we could see, we still managed to pull this out, which is great. Which is so great. GG, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Good showing, man. That will conclude today's gameplay portion of the video. We are going to break the deck down now and talk about it a little bit on how we built it. But before I do so, I want to say a huge shout out and thank you to everyone who's made it this far into the video. It means the absolute world to me that you made it this far. It helps so much with the YouTube algorithm. So I want to say thank you and show my appreciation for you on that. But let's take a look at the deck and talk about it a little bit. So first off, I just wanted to say, I really wish we could have shown off this card a little bit better. We played some pre-games that you guys didn't see, and this card was insane. And especially in this deck, it is wild. It's very wordy, like I said before, but being able to shut down your opponent's ability to attack with their creatures almost every turn is very easy to do with this thing, especially when we can bring it in with haste with the Dollhouse of Horrors. And then, not to mention we can make copies of it with the Seeker's Chariot and, play multiples. It's crazy. If this card gets down onto the battlefield, it shuts down your opponent's ability to even play certain types of magic, like aggressive, go wide type stuff. That stuff's out the door. Your opponent's pretty much done if they don't have some sort of sweeper or a way to take care of it. So I really want to talk about that card a little bit, just FYI. That's amazing. I think you guys should check that card out and give that a try. Dollhouse of Horrors and Tameo, obviously we kicked this deck off with the Asika's Chariot, so these two cards had to make the cut. I've made Reanimator decks in the past with the Asika's Chariot, and it works really, really well, obviously, with Tameo and the Dollhouse, because both of them create those tokens for us. Those tokens can then be copied with the Asika's Chariot. So I had to be careful about how I chose what I was going to reanimate it, because you didn't want to choose things with legendary clauses on them, because obviously legendary rule, you're only going to be able to have one of them on the battlefield at once. So you want to have things you can copy. So we try to keep that in mind when choosing our creatures. And I think we did a pretty good job of choosing our creatures. We got Consuming Blob, which you guys saw how amazing this card can be in Reanimator. I'm really, really hyped on this card. I feel like I'm one of the only few people to ever play this card, but it is really, really good, especially talking about a deck like this. You guys saw it just copies itself over and over and over. And the people want to deal with the copy because it's stronger than the original most of the time, because we get it back with Dollhouse. This becomes a 1/1, and the oozes that it's spitting out are like 4/5s. When really the source, the core blob, is really the problem, and no one wants to take care of it. It seems like. So this thing is really, really cool. 5 stars in my opinion. We've got Workshop War Chief with that, which I thought was cool, because if we can bring this back with, let's say, a Dollhouse of Horrors, and we can copy it a bunch of times, and then let's say we get swept off the board, the Rhinos would then come into play, and we can start copying the Rhinos. So that's a pretty cool idea. The Dusk Mangler, obviously so busted and powerful. And then we've got the Titan, which unfortunately in this deck, I made a little bit of an error, I think, with the Titan. I don't think it belongs in this deck, and let me tell you why. It costs a lot to get out, which is, it's fine. 7 mana, you can get anything back with the Dollhouse for 1, but it basically shuts Tameo's ability out from being able to get it back, right? Which is a problem in itself. But on top of that, you don't really want the Dollhouse to get it out. You want the Tameo to get it out, because a lot of the reason you like the Titan is because it's a big 7/7 body with trample, which is great, and reach. But if you get the Dollhouse, you're only going to get it for a 1/1, which is still fine. You get the 4/4 copy of the Rhino that you can then copy, and you can also copy with the Seeker's Chariot, which was pretty sweet. But you want it to mostly have its power attached to it, which is what makes it so good. So maybe cutting this out and adding in one more Dusk Mangler and one more Arbiter could be pretty beneficial. We also got the binding, which, you know, if you guys don't know, there's an infinite loop here that you can do where you can get a binding into the graveyard, bring it back with Tamio as a copy, and then a Seeker's Chariot every turn can then remove something off the battlefield, which is pretty nuts. Obviously Old Rutstein making the cut here because it's just the best way to get stuff into the graveyard, and it's a great body to block with. We didn't get to see Jace in action. Would have loved to see Jace hit the battlefield a couple of times. You know, making copies of Jace over and over again with the Seeker's Chariot sounds like a lot of fun, but we never got the chance to do so, unfortunately. And then Tainted Indulgence was also a no-brainer. And then on the mana, we've got these lands here because of the binding being able to fetch. And then we chose, you know, Boseiju and then the Abandoned Mire for some flexibility. But ultimately, I think you guys, you know, get the gist of it. This deck was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope you consider my changes and make some adjustments to this yourselves, because it's really powerful. We actually, I mean, you guys saw we won every game. I think we went undefeated with this thing, so pretty awesome, man. I only lost in playtesting. I think we went 1-1 in playtesting, and then we jumped into the game. So I mean, we're like 5 or 6-1 with this thing. It's wildly good. So enjoy it. I hope you guys do. And man, that'll conclude today's breakdown. And before I get out of here, huge shout out as always goes to the Mardu Mob. I want to give a huge shout out to the Mardu Mob because they are the membership program here on the channel, and they help support the channel, you know, through their monthly membership. So I got to give a huge shout out as always to them. Let them know I appreciate them for everything they do for me and the channel and the growth of the channel. So thank you very much. And before I get out of here, man, just I get a little bit of housekeeping. New cards, obviously, Elephant in the Room. New cards come out next week. Super stoked about that. We're trying to get in contact with the Wizards, trying to get that early access. We'll see. By this time, I mean, I might not even be able to get work off in time if we do get accepted, but there's been no answer, unfortunately. So trying to get through to them, get the early access. But if we do get the early access, you know, there'll be a lot of content that day, hopefully, if I can get off work, and we'll be streaming and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. Speaking of streams, every Wednesday, be here. Just check, maybe hit that notification bell. Every Wednesday we stream here live on YouTube, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But yeah, guys, that'll do it. I'm excited for the new cards. I hope you are as well. It's going to be an exciting last week here because the anticipation is going to be really wild. And I've got some cool ideas for the channel coming up in the future. But I'll let you guys know. Stay in touch in the Discord, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Till then, peace.
Hit him 3 times like a hat trick. The name is Swayze, you know Patrick. If you play him, then it's tragic. Hit him with the mythic, yeah, that's magic. Yeah, MTG, that's what you'll see if you like and subscribe. Where's the upload, man? Man, all of the time. Coming with the best decks, this is the meta. This ain't cheap, yeah, it's